So I haven't done this much since last Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving is upon us again, and I just want to talk about some of the things that I am grateful for. First things first, I actually started a grateful text at the end of last year, at the beginning of this year, with a couple friends. We have texts that every day we say 3 things that we're grateful for. There was some downtime because, the pandemic, and I was like, well, let's just try, one a day. And then we found a really cool app that we use where, each of us can do as many as we want and only share one a day with each other and have our own little pod, and that's really cool. Actually, it's called Happy Feed if you wanted to check that out. I had been using just an app that was called the Grateful app, and that was working well for me, but I don't feel like there was opportunities for sharing in that. I tried to look into that. Maybe I'm wrong. If anybody knows otherwise, please let me know. But I will say that it's been really nice to have just that constant back and forth. And little did we know that starting it when we did was going to be a lifesaver because, in the pandemic, even though like everybody's kind of isolated and doing their own thing, and you think everybody's probably talking to each other, I think we're all just kind of focused on our families, whatever that means to you, and it's easy to lose contact. However, since we already are in contact with each other on a daily basis, it's a lot easier too to check in about other things. So it's been really nice to kind of keep updated on friends' lives that like I really only check in with every couple of months usually. They're the type of friends that will go a long time without talking to each other, but we know that I'm grateful for that little one there. I'm blocking something of hers, so anyways, so I highly recommend doing something like that if that sounds like something you could do, finding like a trusted group of friends or just one friend or somebody that you can touch base with, making that person kind of like just someone to either hold you accountable or somebody that you just know will always be there no matter what. So like I said, I'm grateful for my cat that made an appearance, that unless I want to lock them in a separate room, which I don't want to, that'll probably happen from time to time. She is like the best cuddler and purrs all the time. I have another cat that's out of shot that was yelling at me before I started this, but she's pretty happy now. Not sure if the purr is going to come through or not, but if you heard it, that was her. I've also started doing yoga and meditation every day. I swear to you, for the past, I don't know how many years, for a very long time, I've had like a schedule written down. Like, this is when I'm going to go to bed. This is what I'm going to do when I wake up. I'm going to do like a half hour of reading and an hour of studying something to better myself and 20 minutes of meditation and an hour of yoga. Like, just this ridiculous list where it's like, some people do that and good for them. They can do it every day. Like, it's very hard for me to stick to a routine. So I just started integrating things on a small way, just saying like, okay, I'm going to start with the grateful. The grateful thing was actually the first thing that I had started with a couple years ago or so. And it was just like, if I can do this on a daily basis, that'll at least help my headspace. And it really did. And I really highly recommend that. Like, at minimum, if you want to try anything to kind of better what's going on. And honestly, if anybody is watching this that wants to join a grateful pod with me or wants to start their own chain, like, please let me know. That would be cool. Like, the more the merrier. So starting with that was really good, and then meditation was a lot easier because your mind is a little bit calmer when you're always thinking about what to be grateful for, even in times where you're like, everything is stupid. There are moments where I'll say like, I'm grateful for this, even though blah, blah, blah. So it's like a little bit backhanded, but it's way better than it used to be. Like, I would have been happy, but this happened and this happened. So it works. It really works. So I highly recommend doing that for your mental health. Again, especially during these times. So she made an appearance. We'll see. She's gonna rub against everything. Happy distractions. They don't really like it when I do the meditation. Like sitting and not cuddling or doing anything is terrible to them. So, but if I do sit cobbler's pose, if you know what that is, if not, you can look it up. Feet are together like this. They like to like sit in the little circle, and that makes me happy. It's a nice calming thing as well. And then I started doing yoga. I prefer yoga with Adrienne. She's been like the go-to person, especially when I was running. She had a few runners yogas that I would do, and then like a sleepy time yoga that I would do. And then just if I had any like aches and pains, like I just kind of pick and choose what to do. But she also has 30-day programs. So if it's something that you're considering, I would go to that, check it out, see if any of those kind of speak to you. I mean, they're all pretty similar. And they're about 30 minutes a day, give or take, some a little less. Just a few are a little bit longer. But she's really good about, you know, working everything and making sure like not to exhaust you per se, and explaining herself. So if you're thinking about that, I recommend it. So I started one of her 30-day programs, and now I just kind of pick and choose, and there's another couple 30-day programs that I saved that I might kind of dip back into, but there are things that I personally want to work on, so I'm doing that as well. So hopefully everybody out there is just finding something that makes them happy. I'm not gonna lie, like binge watching television also makes me happy, which is something that I wanted to talk about as well. I am grateful for television and movies and things of that nature. I always think about how people say, like, you know, you kind of kill brain cells or you're watching TV mindlessly. Does it really count as mindless TV watching if it's just, you're getting a free show? Cat. Does it really count as mindless if you're actively thinking while watching television? I know that I definitely am active while watching certain things. There's obviously some things that I have just on in the background, but other shows I feel like make me think about things in a way that I haven't thought about them before, or that I want to talk to people about it. And I feel like that is active and it can be good for you, and depending on like what your love about something is. And I also think about things from like an actor's perspective, like, oh my gosh, that actor or actress, like they had to do that, like I wonder how they feel about that, and you know, things like that. I don't know. Maybe some people don't think like that. Maybe most TV watching is mindless for others. I'm happy to hear other people's opinions, but I do feel like certain television shows really do make you think. There are things I feel like I've learned just from watching TV or movies. There are things just about government or real life things that have happened that I thought I knew about, and then I watched a movie, and obviously movies are usually exaggerated, but you know, drama, that's the art. However, I feel like when that does happen, I am inclined to look up the events and say, okay, what about this was exaggerated? What really happened? Tell me more about this person, or hey, they didn't really talk about this person much, like did they do something that like they just didn't want to dive into in the movie, or did they do something really cool after? And then sometimes you revisit things and go back, like, hey, when I looked them up the last time, they were still like chilling in jail, like did they get out on parole, or are they still back, things like that. So while I know people say like don't just sit in front of the TV, blah blah blah, I feel like it can be a tool to learn things, depending on how you use it. So there's got to be other people that see it that way, and I hope that they do. So I am grateful for good television and good movies, especially now. I do feel like there's very little in the market right now, which is good and bad. It kind of gets you deep diving more into what's out there, and or looking up things that you had wanted to see that you haven't seen yet, or since there isn't much, everybody's kind of watching the same stuff, so it gives you something to talk about with other people. So I don't want to talk too much more about TV. I feel like I talked about television for about the half of it, but I do love my TV and movies. But the point is, you know, whatever makes you tick at the end of the day, whatever makes you grateful, stay with that, stick with it, learn from it, do more with that. You know, do more with your kid if your kid makes you happy. Find new things. Try to learn things from your child. Try to teach your dog new tricks. You know, if the time was ever, it's definitely now. And hopefully everybody out there is staying healthy. I know that I've done well so far, knock on wood. Hopefully, you know, everybody is successful, and if anybody does catch it, hopefully it's mild, and hopefully we'll be all out of it very soon. But I think that's it. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful that I'm always finding ways to improve myself, and I'm grateful that I have people that care, and I'm grateful that I can share these things with you, and hopefully you have plenty of things that you are grateful for too. I do find that I tell my friends that I'm grateful for lots of different foods, but that's okay. There are certain foods that I like, and we kind of joke about those kinds of things, because it's good to be grateful for the little things. So that's it. I will make sure to do another one. I am attempting to do at least 1 month. We'll try to do more. And if you need anything, let me know. So that's all. Just stay well and be well.